y'all. This is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. Well, today I received two surprises. One came from South Carolina and one came from the Vatican. I was truly shocked by both of them because I wasn't expecting them, especially in the political climate that we're in. So the one from South Carolina was just stunning, and then the Pope. So let's just start with South Carolina. Well, we all know that the Supreme Court has opened the door for these southern states to shut out Black voices in the form of Black representation. Now, I can't say enough. We can still vote. But what they have done is to take away Black districts from several states in the South, from Louisiana and Tennessee. They took away one out of Alabama and Georgia. Governor Kemp in Georgia decided that they were not going to redraw Georgia's map at this time. And South Carolina redrew their political map, eliminating their one majority Black district that is represented by James Clyburn. So James Clyburn, we thought, was going to lose his political seat. A case was brought to the Supreme Court, Calais versus Louisiana, and Louisiana won. The Supreme Court then gave these southern states permission to redraw their political maps, gerrymandering the districts so that there would be no majority Black districts. Black people vote overwhelmingly Democratic, so they were really trying to eliminate the Democratic districts, all at the behest of President Donald Trump. Donald Trump was targeting these southern states because they're all red states and they're all in with Donald Trump, we thought. Well, starting with Georgia, Georgia withdrew their state map in 2023. So they decided that they were not going to redraw their state map for 2026. So Georgia was out. And then Alabama did withdraw its map, but kept at least one majority Black district, eliminating one and kept one. Well, then it was time for South Carolina. And I was just surprised. Well, South Carolina did redraw their state map the way President Trump wanted them to. But the South Carolina Senate failed to reach the 26 votes needed for closure, a procedural step required to force a final vote on the new congressional map. The motion failed 20 to 24. So they did not have enough votes to carry the procedure forward, so it failed. So South Carolina is going to keep its old map, and Jim Clyburn is going to keep his seat. For now, anyway, for the 2026 cycle. Maybe in 2028, they might redraw the map again. But right now, Jim Clyburn is safe. So for all of the people that were rejoicing that he would lose his seat in Congress, they can just suck it up and maybe he'll lose it in 2028. And to be honest, I wasn't sorry about it. But, you know, what they say, all politics is local, and James Clyburn has been knocking around South Carolina for a long time. And the politicians were afraid, evidently, that instead of creating a new Republican seat, they were going to create two new Democratic seats. So they decided that they were just going to keep what they had. So they're working with the same map that they were working with in 2024. And so this brings us to Pope Leo. Pope Leo XIV issued a formal apology for the Catholic Church's role in legitimizing and enabling slavery. And it is historically significant because no pope before him had ever apologized for the actions of past popes. I knew there was a reason why they brought a non-white pope into that position, because they wanted this to happen, because they know it needed to happen. It should have happened before now. But now the West is dying, or the West is declining. So now they're trying to save themselves. So Pope Leo on May 25th, 2026, explicitly apologized for the Vatican's role in authorizing European powers to enslave non-Christians, the church's failure to condemn slavery for centuries. No, they weren't going to condemn it when they were the ones that sanctioned it. And it doesn't take centuries. That means hundreds of years for you to realize that you have done something wrong. So now they are apologizing because they're losing now. They're losing population. They're losing moral authority. People are losing confidence in them. Now they're losing, so now they're apologizing. He also apologized for the suffering caused by papal decrees, which helped justify the enslavement of Africans and indigenous people. He called this history a wound in Christian memory and said, "For this, in the name of the church, I sincerely ask for pardon. I know that God forgives, but for it to take centuries for you to realize that you have done something wrong, something is wrong with your heart and something is wrong with your head." So I took the liberty of going back and looking up when exactly the Catholic Church got involved in the slave business. And the co-pilot said the Pope who authorized Portugal and Spain to invade Africa and take enslaved people was Pope Nicholas V. He issued two major papal bulls that laid the legal religious foundation for the early transatlantic slave trade. So you see, it wasn't just a bunch of renegade European people who came into Africa and enslaved those people. The Catholic Church was behind it. A papal bull, and it's not paper bull, it's papal, Papal, bull, Bull, is one of the most formal, authoritative types of documents a pope can issue in the Catholic Church. It's essentially an official decree, charter, or proclamation from the pope, authenticated with a special seal. So when a pope sends out a papal bull, it is like something that came from God. You are supposed to do this. You can do this. You are authorized to do this. And I said it. The Pope, the spokesman for God. He issued the first papal bull in 1452. In 1455, he issued another papal bull. This bull expanded Portugal's rights to dominate West African territories, monopolize trade, seize land and people, and justify enslavement of Africans captured in these expeditions. So this was very intentional. These people believed in the church, and they believed that the Pope was the spokesman for God. We don't believe that. We believe that after the crucifixion, we could all come to God. We didn't have to go through the Pope. But they believed that, and they did it. So Pope Nicholas V is the Pope who wrote the papal bulls that gave Portugal, and by extension Spain, the authority to enter Africa, conquer the people, and enslave them. These bulls became the ideological backbone of European colonial expansion and the early African slave trade. So that is what Pope Leo is apologizing for here in 2026. So from 1452 to 2026, it took us that long to get this apology. That's 574 years. So that's centuries. That's 5 centuries and over half of another century, almost 600 years. And the only reason they're apologizing for it now is, like I said, they're in decline. Okay, y'all, let me know what you think about this. James Clyburn, saved by the South Carolina Senate, and Pope Leo apologizing 574 years later for what the Catholic Church did to the African people and all people of color around the world. All right, y'all, let me know what you think about the video and have a good day.